Codependence Anonymous, Chapter 4, Service to Others, the 12 Traditions of Codependence Anonymous, page 84. The 12 Traditions of Codependence Anonymous. Number 1. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon Coda unity. Number 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving higher power as expressed to our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. Number 3. The only requirement for membership in Coda is a desire for healthy and loving relationships. Number 4. Each group should remain autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or Coda as a whole. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to other codependents who still suffer. Number 6. A Coda group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the Coda name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary spiritual aim. Number 7. Every Coda group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Number 8. Codependence Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Number 9. Coda, as such, ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Number 10. Coda has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the Coda name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Number 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal autonomy at the level of press, radio, and films. Number 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Many members of the Coda Fellowship have enhanced their understanding of the 12 traditions by working through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions workbook of Codependence Anonymous. This can be done individually with a sponsor or in a study group meeting with other recovering codependents. What is service work? Our 12 steps and their spiritual principles help us to establish our recovery in our relationships with God, ourselves, and others. They offer us spiritual guidelines to help us work with others. Service work in Coda enables us to put these spiritual guidelines into practice. It embraces a healthy spirit of giving and enables Coda to exist. Through service work, we acknowledge and esteem every person and their recovery, talents, and abilities. Service work enables us to deepen the recovery we experience and allows God's gift of recovery to touch the hearts and minds of other codependents. Each of us in Coda has a variety of talents and skills to offer. Coda offers a variety of service opportunities from sponsorship and interactions with CODA friends to group participation at local, regional, national, and international levels. Determining our participation in service work is an individual decision. Once we choose the activity or role, we become open to another dimension of our recovery. As we review service opportunities and talk with our sponsor and recovery friends about various areas of service, we experience ourselves becoming a part of CODA's spirit of giving. It's this spirit that assists CODA members to work together for the good of CODA in all of its areas of needs. Some of us may know exactly what service work we wish to pursue. Some of us may be unsure if we should do service work at all. We may feel overloaded with activities from our daily lives, not wanting to add on one more responsibility. Some of us may find it difficult working with others if we're not in charge. Or we may feel we have nothing to offer. Whatever the case, each of us has a talent to share or an opportunity to give of ourselves. When we do, we grow in our recovery even more. No gift of service is better or less than others. They all have equal value, from setting up chairs for a CODA meeting to participating in the CODA service conference. Participating without all of us participating and giving ourselves in some way through service work, CODA cannot survive. Our traditions tell us that CODA is self-supporting through our own contributions. We may think this tradition refers to financial resources only. However, it includes our talents, ideas, abilities, time, and care. The more we attend CODA meetings, the more aware we become of the services provided by our membership. Pamphlets and newsletters for our local groups are paid by members' donations. These materials are written by members of CODA who donate their time. Secretaries and treasurers of local CODA groups prepare reports and handle expenses such as rent, anniversary chips, and literature. Community offices and committees are operated and supported by CODA members to help coordinate CODA efforts in local areas. One of the ways we celebrate our recovery with other CODA members is by attending local, regional, national, and international conventions, all of which have been created, facilitated, and supported by volunteer members and their contributions. With each passing day, CODA benefits from the service work of others. The following are examples of areas in CODA which we may consider providing service. Sponsorship. Providing information on meeting times and locations. Listening to others. Starting a new meeting. Preparing chairs, literature, and refreshments for meeting. Chairing a meeting. Greeting newcomers. Cleaning up after a meeting. Volunteering as secretary or treasurer of a home group. Leading a meeting. Helping with CODA workshops or social events. Updating meeting lists. Spreading the message of recovery to those who still suffer. Participating in a hospital or institution's meeting. Offering financial support through the seventh tradition. Establishing a community service office. Starting or assisting with a local or regional newsletter. working with local, regional, national, or international service offices, writing articles and providing services for the Connections news magazine, volunteering for local, regional, national, or international conference and convention preparations, improving the communication channels between local, regional, national, and international levels, participating in committee work for local, regional, national, and international committees such as outreach, hospitals and institutions, issues mediation, service structure, finance, literature, connections, CODA event committees, and others. Volunteering as a group representative, community representative, voting entity delegate, or CODA Incorporated trustee. Practicing and upholding the traditions. Appropriately addressing traditions violations. Some may view this list as overwhelming, but when each of us contributes just a little to service work, we can accomplish so much together. As we embark on the path of service work, we soon discover its benefits to CODA, its members, and our personal recovery. We enhance our recovery to practice loving and healthy behaviors with those we join in service. We see the benefits of healthy reliance upon one another. We learn to accept our differences and similarities. We come to recognize that each of us has a purpose and path, all deserving of love and respect. Codependence and service work. In our codependence, some of us use service work and other CODA activities as a way to gain our value, worth, and identity. We satisfy our hunger for an identity or to feel needed by becoming over-involved in our families, relatives, friends, careers, and other activities, many times to the detriment of our own needs. We literally give until it hurts our well-being. Some of us isolate or avoid being available to others, fearful of our abilities or the judgments of others. Some of us are working to replace our controlling behaviors with healthy ones. Balance and workaholism are other issues with which many of us struggle. How do we devote our time and talent in service work in healthy ways, we ask? Our answer is simple. Our 12th step suggests we practice these principles in all our affairs. It doesn't matter if our codependence focuses on fixing, controlling, avoiding, or isolating. We can experience more personal recovery through service work by applying our recovery tools. Service work is a safe place to practice our recovery. It can become a mirror that reflects which areas of our personality may need refinement or change. Each of us involved in service work in the CODA Fellowship addresses our own recovery concerns at some point. It's a wonderful opportunity for growth. Service work allows us opportunities to practice setting boundaries, working with and accepting others, refraining from behaving in self-defeating ways, and developing healthy and loving relationships with other recovering codependents. It also helps us to become more sensitive to differences between caregiving and caretaking responding and reacting, becoming a human being versus a human doing. At times, we place high expectations on the service work we provide, only to feel disappointed or disillusioned. At this extreme, we may vow never to do service work again. This is a terrible loss. By addressing our unrealistic expectations, we can expand our growth and recovery. Our groups can experience this as well. An uninformed group conscience may build unrealistic expectations about meetings or quota groups. Members may control, manipulate, or intimidate other members or violate the traditions. In these cases, unrealistic expectations and resulting behaviors become self-serving and sabotaging. The good of the whole coda becomes jeopardized. These unhealthy motives or unrealistic expectations can perpetuate codependence within our program. Exploring our motives with our sponsor and coda friends prior to engaging in service work is important. Regardless of whether or not we desire or avoid service work, our sponsor can also help us identify the weaker areas of our personal recovery that might be affected. Before we participate, it helps us to understand our expectations, weaknesses, and strengths. CODA offers few specific guidelines for the amount of time a member should remain involved in any service position. We each need to remain aware of our length of service and when it is best to step aside. Others need to rise through the service organization to experience the benefits and growth. Sometimes we hurt ourselves when we remain active in a role or take on more tasks when no one offers to help. When this happens, we run the risk of relapsing into our codependence. To find out how long we should take on a certain task or role, it's helpful for us to recall our spiritual and personal reasons for engaging in service work. We may journal our thoughts and feelings, pray for insight, and talk with our sponsors and CODA friends. We need to be sensitive to the appropriate time for us to end our service work in a given area and allow others the opportunity to experience the growth and the spirit of giving that service work offers. For recovering codependence, our service work is a valuable tool. It's not a fix, penance, or an arena for control. It's our way of passing on to others what has been given to us. The traditions in service work. Our 12 traditions are the spiritual principles for the membership of CODA as a whole and the spiritual guidelines for the provision of service work. They help CODA to remain spiritually centered and to operate from a state of integrity. They provide us a clear and specific path so that CODA will continue to be available for us all. Applying their traditions and their spiritual principles in service work means learning to speak for ourselves, practicing spiritual equality with others, and maintaining boundaries. We learn to accept others' differences, to lovingly confront passive and aggressive abuses, and to work together with others for CODA's highest good. We learn to be a part of a team working toward and developing unity within the CODA program. We risk hurting Coda if we do service work without the guidance of the spiritual principles found in our traditions. We can prevent this by applying the knowledge and wisdom of the traditions as well as sharing the experiences of our membership. Understanding and implementing the traditions is the responsibility of every Coda member. We find it helpful to study and discuss them with our sponsor and Coda friends. We also enhance our study by exploring how the traditions apply to various aspects of service work. Some of the ways individual members or groups can support the healthy functioning of Coda are through these actions: promoting the use of Coda conference and endorsed literature at meetings, donating amounts of our over a group's prudent reserve in the seventh tradition, using the group conscience to resolve issues, involving ourselves in service that positively impacts other groups or Coda as a whole, honoring the anonymity of Coda members. Each of us is harmed every time a member or group breaks or modifies any of our traditions, and each time we ignore, disregard, or overlook traditions' violations, we perpetuate that hurt. The ripple effect can hurt other Coda groups in the local, regional, national, and or international communities. It is important to speak up when traditions violations occur. We find it helpful to do so in non-shaming and loving ways. No one is on trial. Perhaps the individual or group is not even aware of the tradition violation. We ask our group to hold a business meeting. We share our knowledge and experience with the traditions and the issue. We listen as others share their thoughts and opinions. We discuss the issues and look for solutions that best serve Coda. After all discussions have taken place, we then take a group conscience vote and trust in our higher power's will to be expressed through that vote. Service work is both a gift and a responsibility. As we continuously rely upon the wisdom and guidance of our 12 traditions, conditions that can negatively affect Coda's safety rarely appear. In practicing these principles throughout our service work, we become responsible for safeguarding the spiritual integrity and the future of Coda. If each of us offers a small contribution of our time and talent to service in Coda, the needs of Coda will surely be met, and Coda will continue to grow. Throughout our service work, let us remember we have but one ultimate authority, a loving higher power as expressed to our group conscience, and but one primary purpose, carrying the message to the codependent who still suffers.